Honestly, the only way I can like this movie is I'm like, you know what, that's a problem, but whatever.
I was designed to save the world. People will look to the sky and see hope. I'll take that from them first.
Because here's the thing, a lot of these problems, there's no problem in this movie that's big enough to sink this movie. Like, there isn't, like, a glaring problem with this movie. But there's a lot of little problems, and they add up. So, so then we have the scene, and they argue for a bit. And I think this is when they find out the files have been wiped.
Yeah,
and
and then Rhodey. I wish Rhodey was in it more, but whatever. No, that's my whatever.
Yeah, he should have been like a key player in this movie, but I guess not for reasons. Anyway, there's a line in this where they go, "He's wiped all our files. He knows more. He knows us better than we know ourselves," or something like that, which sounds sinister and doesn't really come into play later. And then there's also there's the setup of Ultron is in the internet, which means he's everywhere at the same time. Like, he can do anything now. Like, he could fuck up the whole world if he wanted. He could fucking make the stock market crash by just fucking with some numbers and make the whole world economy fall apart. He could make sure our computers don't work and everyone will complain. He could bring the PlayStation Network down again and Sony wouldn't tell us for a week. But, you know, like the most sinister shit anyone could do. But instead he doesn't do any of that.
Two things. There's an in-story reason for that. And the second thing, I don't care that
No,
there's an in-story reason for that.
reason
because no, I'm agreeing with you on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, they're like, oh, yeah, it was Jarvis the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, but then...
But that's just for the nuclear codes.
Yeah, but I just assume that was for, like, the whole thingamajig. Like, Jarvis was countering, like, every move he made on the internet. I guess they just had him use it as, like, a super highway to get to his other forms, but...
I don't know. That could have been set up better.
Yeah, I'm okay with them not
is...
doing anything huge with that, because the focus is primarily on the Avengers and how they feel about what they're doing, you know? But if you're going to have Ultron be in the internet, you know, it wouldn't have hurt to fuck up, like you said, some stock markets, some anything.
Well, I'm just saying, if this movie should... Like, events should play out logically, is what I'm saying. Like, it should feel like this is the natural next step. And what doesn't feel like the next step for me is going to Wakanda. Not Wakanda. I should say that.
Yeah, we just call it that from now on. Oh, when they go to not Wakanda.
They go to not Wakanda, which they only set up the fact that he has to go to not Wakanda like a scene before it happens. And then they set up the fact that he needs Helen Cho only a scene before that happens. And it never feels like it's building to a bigger thing. We're never told that he's building this device to turn that city into a meteorite. Like, that's never really set up, but he had to have been planning it from the start. And I think that's a problem. But then there's a throwaway line cutting about a scene ahead. My comment about Ultron being on the internet. There's a horribly done scene where they're walking. Maria Hill is showing story elements on an iPad. And, I forgot to say, we're told the entire backstory to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch on an iPad earlier. And that's some shitty storytelling. Then
I think that's fine. I'm sure it's a...
Lazy.
She's just informing him on their previous mission. Like,
fucking
these
show
are
me what happened
in the play.
I want to watch a goddamn movie. Fucking show me something. I don't want to fucking look at someone looking at an iPad. Anyway, so we're told that Baron von Strucker has been killed on an iPad, and then there's a comment that there's reports coming in from all over the world of metal men breaking into facilities and stealing pieces, and something too fast to see, which is Quicksilver, and people having horrible nightmares, which is Scarlet Witch. And you know what would have been fun to see? Ultron,
Them
Scarlet
doing
Witch,
that.
and Quicksilver breaking into all these places. But nope, let's just tell them. Let's just say it happened. We don't have to fucking see it. But
No, that one, I'm with you on.
I don't
Yeah,
like
there's
that.
would have been nothing wrong with showing that.
And we also the scene where Ultron meets Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver is when we first see Ultron, and he has a dumb face. And he does the same thing he does for the whole movie, where he talks about 3 different motivations at the same time, and none of them gel very well. Where we have to destroy the Avengers from within. I'm here to create peace. Also, I am God. So that I don't like that.
I like the innovations. I'm not using the he's just evil as an excuse, because I don't think it's that simple as the Vision says in the movie later.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely believe that Whedon had Ultron characterized like that mostly because he's not 100% just a character. He's more using him as like this Avengers mirror of ugliness, and
But I
basically
don't think that
making them think about what they're doing instead of fully like a realized character, which I can live with.
I would agree with that if it played out better in the movie, and if there wasn't all this bullshit dialogue about gods and monsters and tearing the Avengers apart from within, which doesn't go anywhere.
The tearing Avengers apart from within ends up being a little bit underutilized because
A
they
lot
result in a
underutilized.
giant catastrophic disaster sequence in the finale. I'm just going to mention this right now. The movie didn't need to end with another big act. Like, it could have still had it in the movie, and it could have been 3 hours or 3.5 hours like it was intended, but it didn't need to be another citywide destruction sequence. It needed to be Ultron and the Avengers talking about shit.
It needed to be a smaller action scene, but the problem is that the Hulk should have left like halfway through this movie. That's what should have happened. Because you can't use the Hulk.
After the not Wakanda stuff?
After the not Wakanda stuff, the Hulk should have just left. Like, instead of getting knocked out by Tony Stark after that fight scene, he should have like seen what he had done and just run off. And that might have pissed off some fans, but I think it would have worked a little better. Whatever, fuck it.
Let's talk about not Wakanda then really quickly, because
we go to not Wakanda.
I like this for the most part.
So they go to not Wakanda. The only thing I really like about the scene is that Andy Serkis is in it and not a horrible CGI monster. It's actually Andy Serkis, which is fun. Got more fucking bullshit coming out of Ultron's mouth.
Oh no, this bullshit I really like.
I hate when he starts talking to the Avengers.
Why?
Well, there's one good moment in it, which is when I forget what someone says, but someone says something, and then Ultron makes the retort, "Clearly, you've never made an omelet." And then Tony Stark says, "Beat me by 1 second," which is a nice little way to set up that Ultron is related to Tony, which is about as deep as it gets in that relationship.
Well, no, I think it gets deeper. It's just never spoken.
No, it does not get deeper.
You don't think he's Tony Stark's bastard child?
I think that's what they were going for, but I don't feel these things. I'm told these things a lot, but I never feel them in the movie. If I'm just being told, I just kind of put it in the back of my head being like, okay, that's a detail. It's more just feels like a way to justify why this story is so all over the place than like an actual character moment.
Speaking of all over the place, the dream sequence in the middle of the action sequence, in terms of messy craftsmanship, I think that is actually a legitimate reason for why it's like that, and that's why this one works for me.
you're fucking. Yeah. But
I want to give you a stroke, but I got to speak my mind.
I hate this action scene because it's in this like weird like boat, like which also I don't know how the Avengers got in here. I just realized this like rewatching it. Like they're just kind of somehow they get in there without making any noise, and they don't come crashing through like a glass ceiling or anything. But whatever.
See, for Hawkeye and Black Widow, I think it works.
Yeah, it makes sense for them, but how did Thor get in?
Oh, yeah. There should have been like a little thing like they crash through the roof and then Captain America hops in front of them. Because Iron Man and Thor, they're not quiet.
I hate the witticism coming from Ultron where he says, "Oh, let me tell you my dastardly plan," and then shoots them, which feels like a joke out of the fucking Incredibles, and doesn't work here at all.
Okay, I was about to say like finish this properly, otherwise we're gonna fight about something else.
But this action scene sucks ass, except for the one scene where Quicksilver tries to catch Hulk's hammer, and then it just yanks him away and he gets thrown. I can't follow what's going on in this action scene. I don't know how Scarlet Witch is sneaking up on all these people. And then these visions are like, I like the visions kinda. I think Black Widow's is like scary. I think Captain America's is interesting. They're visually nice, but it should have happened in a quieter moment. Like I feel like this should have been something where like somehow like this should have happened at Avengers Tower. Like the Avengers really don't know what to do, so like it's late at night, so they're just kind of all resting, and Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver just sneak in, and this happens to them while they're having more quiet personal moments, and then it gets interrupted by Ultron attacking. But instead we get this weird detour to Wakanda just to set up that Ultron's making a stronger body, which also gets thrown away when he just goes off to make Vision using the skin shit. But
he uses the vibranium on the skin shit too, so
fuck it.
It's not a.
You could have done it better.
I think that you're over exaggerating on that one a little bit.
And then there's the Hulk Iron Man fight, which is like a really boring detour, but it's probably the best shot action scene in the movie.
Yes, I think it is the best shot action sequence in the movie too, except for the one in the church, the little 360 thing. But we'll get to that one. I don't think it's as exciting. Like I know a lot of people who don't like the movie, but they're like, "Oh, but that scene was cool." I was like, "It's not that cool. It goes on a little too long."
Well, the analogy I always use is that in a lot of movies, there's like in a lot of action movies, there's a car chase, and the car chase is usually really boring because it's just something that happens while characters go from point A to point B, and it doesn't change the plot at all. And that's kind of what anytime the Hulk freaks out, it kind of feels that way. But it really feels useless in this scene.
Okay, I'm going to blow your mind really quickly, though. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, so back to the visions really quickly, the nightmares. I think that's where the movie starts laying the groundwork for exploring the themes in the later half of the movie. Like Captain America has no place in the world. And none of them really have a place in the world besides the Avengers. And Cap is looking for a home, like he's looking for Bucky, but he doesn't. He's got a reason to fight now. That's set up really well in the first Avengers and Winter Soldier, but he has no place to call his own. And then by the end of the movie, he realizes, oh well, this Avengers thing ain't so bad. And then Thor's stuff is the ball's dropped a little bit on that because then it just leads to the cave detour, which sucks.
Well, you don't know what's going on with Thor unless you know comic books.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't know that Ragnarok is coming.
Yeah. And I like that Hawkeye doesn't get brainwashed in this movie.
Yeah, that was nice.
I don't think that's a legitimate problem with the first movie. I just know a lot of people rag on it.
Yeah, no, that works in the first movie, but I'm glad that they didn't repeat themselves here.
And I like that they acknowledge it, and I don't think that's too overtly Whedon-y.
Yeah, well, that one's not. There's a lot of Whedon moments, but that's not one of them.
And then Hulk. Okay, so my point was going to be Hulk. He doesn't get the nightmare because he's living his nightmare, and so when Banner turns into the Hulk, it's like, oh shit, that's right, he doesn't have a nightmare. Ha ha ha. So I think that's a nice touch. I still think the action goes on too long, but that's why I like that sequence.
I just think it was a horrible moment for these visions to be introduced. I just don't like being in not Wakanda.
Okay.
It really feels like Whedon was told, like, hey, we need to set up the Black Widow's coming. I mean, not Black Panther's coming, so throw this shit in. And we'll also explain why Andy Serkis's character has a robot arm in the inevitable Black Panther movie. So, I don't know. I just don't. It's just so boring.
Tell me how you really feel.
Then they're flying away, and then the culmination of Ultron's plan to have the world turn on the Avengers is shown in a throwaway line, a throwaway conversation between Tony Stark and Maria Hill, which we never actually see taking place and feels like it was voiceover added after the fact. Where Maria Hill's like, man, you guys aren't popular right now. Okay, bye. That's it. That's the culmination of that whole fucking plot point.
To be fair, I think the movie, I don't think it's a mistake that the movie focuses on the Avengers' feelings on that more so than like, here's what the world thinks of you. But this is another thing where you could have just shown it.
I don't agree with you that this movie does a good job focusing on the Avengers' emotions. Especially because the ending of this movie is them going like, "Oh, that was some crazy shit. Okay, bye." It's not at the end of the movie where they're like, "Man, I got a lot to think about now," or it's just like, "Well, that was something." Bye.
No, I mean, even the conversation between Cap and Iron Man.
Yes.
Oh no, I think
it's just them being like, "Yeah, well, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna still run the Avengers. Okay, see you later."
He's not running the Avengers. He's leaving.
No, that was me being both Tony Stark and Captain America.
What?
But,
like their love child?
Yeah, whatever.
They totally boned, by the way.
Anyway, yeah, whatever with your shit. I don't want to. I'm not in the mood to talk about that right now. I'm so annoyed with this movie. And Thor is just like, yeah, I got shit to go check out. Oh, well, I'm not too worried about it. I was just told that everyone's going to die and it's my fault. But don't worry about it, guys. Also, someone's getting these Infinity Stones, which, could destroy the entire universe. But, see you later, fellas.
There's nothing wrong with him going off to his next adventure.
And then Nick Fury's all like, hey, Black Widow, we think Hulk's in Fiji. And she's like, yeah. Well, all right. Like, that's kind of the end. You know what everyone at the end of this movie is like?
What?
Everyone's like, whatever. That's
Fuck you.
Everyone at the end of this movie. They're all, whatever.
I don't know how you could say that. Everyone is so clearly, like, changed from their experiences.
No, they aren't. I feel like at the end of this movie, other than people going like, I'm taking a break, or I'm leaving, like, it doesn't feel like a big, like fuck, we kind of got our asses kicked, or fuck, we're not as good as we thought we are, or fuck, maybe we are doing more harm than good. It's more just like, that was some shit. Whatever.
One, that's fucking hilarious, and that even though I love this movie, I'm going to describe it as that from now on. But Tony's whole reason for leaving is because of the events, and they're his fault, and to get back on track.
Yeah, but he's not like.
No, I got you. Watch, because at the farm, at Hawkeye's farm, is where everyone takes a second to breathe. That's the moment of the movie where there's actually some breathing room, and I think it works really well. But that leads to the Cap and Tony discussion at the farm, where they discuss what the Avengers should be about, and ultimately that disagreement.
Wait a second, I got something I want to say really quick though.
Okay, go ahead.
This episode will be titled "Avengers: Age of Whatever."
It might actually, because that's the best running joke I've ever had on this show.
But anyway, you were
as I was saying. Yeah, during the farm sequence when they're cutting wood, that gives us a moment to let the characters just talk for a moment instead of getting wrapped up in whatever action sequence is in the middle. And to be fair, I do think the action picks up in the second half of the movie far more than the first. But that discussion between Cap and Tony, I mean, yeah, it's Civil War prep, but I think why I like this movie so much is that I think everyone acts in character for the whole thing, and I can roll with whatever they're saying because I always feel like, yeah, that's what they would say. I believe that.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't believe that should be like a high bar.
Oh no! I'm saying that's one of the reasons. Obviously, there's like a shitload, as I explained a bunch of times, but I think that scene.
If that was a high bar, it would mean that fucking
the rest of the movie.
The only problem with Zack Snyder's movies is that everyone acts out of a character. That's honestly the least of those movies' problems.
Oh God, I can't. I'm so tired of those. Jesus Christ!
But they might not happen based on some rumors swirling around.
Yeah, apparently they fucked up so bad nobody wants to see their movies anymore.
Yeah.
Wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. But what I was going to say was I'm going to make a really weird comparison.
Do it. You brought up Zootopia. I never thought that would happen.
Well, one time I watched An Evening with Kevin Smith too.
Okay.
And in that he talks about working on Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard.
Yeah.
And I think it was that. It might have been a different Evening with Kevin Smith, but whatever. He's talking about that, and his character in it is this character called the Warlock, who is there to give a bunch of exposition in the movie. And he talks about that when he was on set, there was a big fight on set because while they had been filming the movie, they had been cutting a lot of scenes from that movie and dumping all the information that would have been set up in those scenes in the Warlock scene. Like, they just kept taking important moments and saying, we'll explain it when we get to the Warlock scene. And it ended up becoming a big problem. And if you see Live Free or Die Hard, it is one of the problems with that movie.
We've got to talk about the Die Hard movie sometime too, by the way.
Yeah, I feel like Hawkeye's farm is the Warlock scene of this movie.
Oh, no.
Where they saved Hawkeye's farm to dump tons of shit on you. And you end up getting lost in a lot of it. Like, I understand, it sounds weird coming from the guy saying this movie needs more breathing room, but I didn't want a nap. Like, that's what the scene is. It's a quick power nap, but I didn't want that. I wanted just a lot more before this. I didn't want it all to be dumped here. And one of the things was I took notes, really unscientific notes, about both the Avengers movies. And let's just say there's like two big moments of exposition where things kind of slow down for exposition in both movies, okay? Mm-hmm. In the Avengers version, there's a exposition scene and then a low point. So I'm going to combine them two for scientific reasons. In the first Avengers, exactly 18 plot points are brought up in the first Avengers during these two moments, right?
Yes.
In the equivalent in Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, exactly, I got to do math in my head really quick, exactly 32 plot points are brought up in the equivalent of these two scenes. So nearly double. And it's dumping a lot on you. And so you get lost in what's either supposed to be character moments or what's just supposed to be actual important plot point information. Because it just doesn't, it's hard to explain. Like, it doesn't feel like we're being set up anything. It just feels like, okay, here are the character moments. And we're just kind of like character moment, character moment, character moment, character moment. And it's boring. It's not connected very well. It's not like, and it's not mixed up because it's all on Hawkeye's farm. It might have helped if the characters like split up at some point.
like an Empire Strikes Back
Yeah,
thing where
this
you
movie
have
really should have taken pages out of Empire Strikes Back, which it makes sense that it didn't because Whedon has said in interviews that he doesn't like Empire Strikes Back.
um he says he does like it, but he doesn't think it has an ending. He's wrong, by the way.
Yeah, he's very wrong.
Yeah,
Because this movie,
the plot stuff just lingers, but it's not like that was an accident.
yeah.
And the thematic drama stuff it's all tied up fairly well. So,
Well, here's the thing.
It is The Empire Strikes Back. You all know.
Here's the thing. All the character arcs are complete by the end of Empire Strikes Back. There are character arcs in that movie. That's how that movie ends. It's an emotional ending, not like a big "we beat the bad guy." And
Yeah.
we didn't blow up the Death Star, but we also saw Luke get his ass kicked, and now he learns that he's not ready. That's what this movie should have been. Instead, it's we stopped Ultron, and whatever. That's it. That's what it is. I'm already bored of this movie. We're at Hawkeye's farm, and I'm like, I just want to end the movie.
Well, too bad, because we got some more to talk about, but we're almost done.
But I will agree. I do think you did bring up something good, which is I do think the action improves in the second half.
Yeah. Again, as much as I love this movie, when the action's going on in the first half of the movie, besides the opening scene, I'm like, oh, okay, I can go to the bathroom. I don't have to pause it. I can just go get some food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever.
So, what happens next? We're at Hawkeye's farm forever.
Mm-hmm. We're there for like 15 minutes, and
oh wait, I timed it. I wrote down how much time.
Okay, how long?
Okay, wait, I gotta get my notes. We're there for 20 minutes.
Oh, a little longer than I thought.
Yeah. So 20-minute long. Probably because it felt 20 minutes.
I don't feel that at all. But I think that's just one of the things we're not going to be able to connect on. I mean, we're obviously not seeing eye to eye on this movie, but yeah. I think we're doing an okay job of not killing each other. Or
well, again, it's easy because I'm not coming in here being like, fuck Avengers and fuck movies and fuck superhero movies.
I mean, they're not as bad as anime, so.
I know.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for my upcoming anime podcast on Yu Yu Hakusho.
Are you guys really doing that?
Yes, we're doing it. That's what my mic.
I should have had Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm gonna listen to the podcast without that. So there's your quick plug for Matt Guringo's upcoming podcast.
Keep an eye out of America. It's gonna fucking blow the doors off of everything.
Okay. So back to Age of Ultron. Then Nick Fury shows up for his obligatory cameo.
Yeah, because we have Samuel L. Jackson contracted for a certain number of movies, so we better fucking get him in this one.
Here's where the stuff, again, Hawkeye's Farm really starts bringing this movie together for me in a big way. Where he basically just gives them a pep talk, but I like what he has to say. Like, he doesn't have like some master plan to save everyone, but you got the Avengers, and sometimes you just gotta put your faith in something. And I thought that was a nice little moment.
You know why his pep talk is so good?
Because it's Samuel L. Jackson. Because
he's the only character in the movie that doesn't at some point sound like Joss Whedon.
I feel that in the first movie that the characters are more Whedon-y, so this is a very odd.
I definitely don't agree.
Discrepancy for me.
There's a couple of like moments. Well, the thing is, they're all like quippy in the first one, but it never feels forced like it does in this one. Like, I think a lot of it makes more sense, especially because a lot of that dialogue comes from these characters meeting each other for the first time. So you do have a lot of chances to like reference the facts that Iron Man's dad knew Captain America, so like it makes more sense. Here it's just like kind of like shitty stand-up. It's like on Seinfeld when they used to try and tie like the episodes into Jerry Seinfeld's actual stand-up that they would show at the beginning and end of each episode. Which they thankfully abandoned after like 3 seasons. This movie needed a Newman.
Ultron's basically Newman, if you think about it. And then the Avengers are Jerry.
I wouldn't go that far. Because the Avengers aren't... You know what? Maybe if the Avengers were more horrible people in this movie,
I mean, did you forget they're monsters?
Yeah, no, I didn't because the movie never fucking lets you forget.
Um, fuck, I had another good one. I
Can we
lost
leave
my train.
Hawkeye's farm yet?
No, that's why we're still talking about it.
Also, what
Okay,
I like Hawkeye's family. I know a lot of people are upset about it, but I like it.
they're dumb. No,
I
you're not
like
dumb. You're just wrong.
I like Hawkeye's family because I don't think we see that enough. Maybe because it's more like a fuck you at all the comic book writers that always say any character that like has is like married can't be interesting, which gets
Yeah.
brought up in the comic book world all the fucking time, and it leads to a lot of horrible shit happening.
New 52. Anyways.
Fucking one more day.
Oh fuck. That event is so bad it single-handedly ruined the economy.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I love Hawkeye's family, and I think this is a really minor thing. I might be rooting into it too much, but don't call me out on it if I am. I like Whedon's maturity level when it comes to that relationship. Obviously you could, if you don't like the Black Widow Hulk relationship, you could tear this down really easily.
No,
but as far as like romances go and his stuff, he kind of shied away from that stuff too. Like as far back as Buffy, when she got a normal human boyfriend, like a long-term one, he wrote him out because he was like, oh, he's boring. And then now he gives Hawkeye, like notorious loser Hawkeye, a family that is very well off and stable, and a nice little American family.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that's a really nice touch. Props to Whedon for that.
And I think it works probably because I think the reason why the Black Widow Hulk one doesn't work is because we're seeing the beginnings of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very difficult to do in a movie like this, especially when there's like bigger issues at hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything else is more interesting than will they or won't they. Because like when we're introduced, to go back to Empire Strikes Back, like we're thrown into like this relationship between Han and Leia, but we're also kind of hinted at the fact that they've had some sort of relationship at some point between the first Star Wars and the next one. And it's done very subtly but nicely. We just think they haven't like committed to anything yet. Whereas this one,
from Empire Strikes Back,
how the fuck do you not get that?
Like that they had a relationship in between the movies?
Yeah, just look at the way they look at each other.
Well, I think they're attracted. I buy the relationship.
Maybe because it's told visually and then fucking shoved down your throat like this fucking movie does with everything in it every 5 fucking minutes.
Well, no, I obviously understand the romance and whatnot, and the will they, won't they tension, like, but I never thought that it was.
I'm sorry, there's never a line in fucking Empire Strikes Back where Leia and Han are like, "Hey, remember that time we hooked up for a second on Ord Mantell before that bounty hunter attacked?" Fucking bullshit.
Yeah, no, I'll rewatch Empire with that in mind, but I don't know. I don't think that was the intent.
I'm telling you, it fucking happened.
Okay.
There's no way they would care that much about each other if that didn't happen. That's why that fucking whole arc works.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Han Solo's fucking dead. Anyways.
Wow, that actually hurt me for a second.
I'm sorry. That was me.
Christ.
I'm sorry.
Why you gotta take it here, man?
I'm sorry. That one is a little rough.
Holy Christ.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. I sincerely apologize for that one. That was a little much. So back to a good movie like Age of Ultron. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding on that too. So we get off the farm. The Avengers reestablish. Here's where I think why the action also starts working some more. Like you said, you wish they had split up in the first half. This is where they end up splitting up.
Yeah.
And then everything flows a little better narrative-wise and character-wise and even action-wise. The action scene in Seoul with the Ultron bots in the truck really fucking goofy. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's a good scene. You know what? I just had a thought in my head that might have
it.
made this movie better. But all right, this is some shitty like first draft writing coming out of my head.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, what if after Scarlet Witch gave them all these visions and like the Hulk, you know, goes crazy and starts tearing up the place? If like the Hulk is like running around the world, like tearing shit up, like he's just kind of rampaging around the world, and so they send Thor after him. So you can put Thor and the Hulk on their own adventure, so the rest of the Avengers can sort shit out. That's some very sloppy first draft stuff, but I think it would have done a decent job dividing these characters up. Because they're the hardest to make mesh with these other action scenes. Because that
yeah, I think I could roll. I'm trying to think, like, does that affect anything later? Because I really like all the other character stuff in the second half, like, a lot.
Well, part of what I think, because now, like, we're hearing early buzz about Civil War, and I'm really jazzed about it. And I think part of why Civil War is working as like a action movie, from what I'm hearing, is that Thor and Hulk aren't involved. Like,
because then he just like everyone else dies.
Yeah, they're too overpowered, and they can only do like the really big, bombastic action stuff. It's going to be weird when we have all these low-level heroes going up against Thanos later. I don't know how the fuck Black Widow is going to be able to handle that.
They're going to give him more Grey Goons.
I hope not.
At least make them fucking red, blue.
Yeah,
a primary color.
I probably wouldn't be as upset if this movie didn't end with that. But whatever. It's a nice action scene. We're seeing the creation of Vision, which gets interrupted. That's when Scarlet Witch realizes that Ultron's actually crazy.
She realized that it was ending the same way as the first movie, and she was like, "How could you?"
Yeah, because she didn't know. Which also, I mentioned that we needed that montage of him stealing all those parts, right? Them like going around the world stealing shit, right?
Yeah.
And Ultron had to have been making this device, which will later turn the city into a meteor. But that's never established until like right before it happens. And I think a way that could have been established is if we had seen them breaking into all these places and Ultron stealing these pieces, and like either Quicksilver or Scarlet Witch being like, "Hey, what are these pieces for?" And Ultron's like, "Don't worry about it, it's nothing." So we're kind of set up that something's going on behind the scenes, that Ultron has a bigger plan. Mm-hmm. I think that should have been established. But there's all these hints at this relationship between Scarlet Witch and Ultron, which has clearly been cut out of this movie. There clearly had to have been more scenes with them that they just took out of the movie.
Given that there was a 3.5 hour long cut originally, there's no way you're wrong.
Yeah, and especially, but just because they put so much emphasis on it in this scene, and then later when Ultron and Scarlet Witch have a little moment together, because Ultron's really upset that they left.
Yeah,
which leads to him kidnapping Scarlet Johansson. And which doesn't make sense, but would probably make more sense if they set up a relationship between Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver and Ultron a little better. So there's that. Also, there's a moment when Ultron just shoots Helen Cho, which felt a little clunky in how it plays out.
And then he kills her entire staff.
Yeah.
And this is a minor thing, even though the rest of the nameless Asian characters die. I'm very happy the one we got to know is alive, at least. Like, people of color die all the time in a lot of big budget American movies, and it's just like, whatever. It's played off like that, and it's like, please don't do that. And this is a minor thing, and they still kill off the rest of the nameless Asian characters, but I was surprised at that. I thought for sure, she's just going to be in this one movie and she's dead. And this might very well be the only movie she's in, but she's alive. And I don't know, just something about that
Yeah,
to be admired.
I hope they bring her back in
Yeah,
some
me
way.
too. The fun thing about the Marvel Universe is that they don't shoot off characters in the head when they don't know what to do with them.
Mhm.
They just leave them out of the movie.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's always good.
yeah, um, yeah. Hopefully, no one would be dumb enough to do that, though. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just so fucking stupid. I can't imagine someone doing that.
Yeah.
But also, like, they do bring back people. Like, remember they brought back the guy who all he did in Winter Soldier was not not launch the helicarriers, and they bring him back in this for like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Like,
Uh,
are you talking? Are you not happy with that, or
no,
are
no, I
you're
like
pro
that.
that?
I'm just pointing out
Okay.
an
Yeah.
example of like Marvel like using characters they've set up.
Yeah, and it's a minor appearance, like you said, but it's fun. It's
Hmm.
a fun little deal.
Yeah.
Also, that might be the only TV crossover in the movies ever
Mhm.
that they establish that they have an extra helicarrier and in the TV show, and then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go how about the Avengers," and then they do.
Oh, hey now. I wish that they should have. The cast of Agents of Shield should have been on that helicarrier then.
They very much should have been on the
I,
helicarrier.
I mean, they could have shown up, and like the audience, if they don't watch Agents of Shield, probably they wouldn't need to know who those people are
Hmm.
because they're just like, oh, they're Nick Fury's people. But if you watch the show, it would have been whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
there are a whole mess of problems with that TV movie continuity stuff because they don't like each other,
you
I
can
guess.
tell by the way I'm going all over the place that I'm kind of already done talking about the movie.
Yeah, so why don't we just go ahead and wrap it up to the big finale climax?
Yeah.
The Scarlet Witch. Fucking now I'm doing it.
Well, the
Scarlet
Vision,
Johansson's getting out. Vision's
Vision,
born,
which is a really awkward scene.
and okay, I remember this one now. I remember us talking about it. I like that it's such a cluttered, violent birth. Like it just feels appropriate given the Avengers' circumstances to me in this movie. Even though I know you're like whatever on them. Out of like this. Okay, go ahead.
Counterpoint.
Uh-huh.
Fuck you. I hate this.
I feel like those are all your counterpoints for me, but you know what?
But I hate this
accept it.
logic of, oh, the scene's messy because the heads of the characters are messy, man. It's like a subtext thing, man. That's bullshit. I don't believe that. I never
Look,
buy that.
No, I do believe that.
That's such
I will gladly
bullshit.
tear down any movie for that bullshit, but I don't see how else the movie could play out the way it does if it wasn't.
But to me, it sounds like all the people are trying to say that Batman v Superman is some deep, complicated film because it doesn't make sense. Or all the people who tried to say
no.
that the Star Wars prequels were like deep commentary on the Bush administration. Like, that's what it sounds
Part of
like
me
to
believed
me.
they were, but they were just terrible movies.
Yeah, but they weren't.
This one. All right, go ahead.
Don't eat. I.
Am I killing you?
Fight. Whatever. Fucking move on.
Okay. So they repeat the action from the end of the first movie, but they don't do the big oneer until the very end of the fight scene. And it's good.
I like the location of a floating city for the action scene. I think that's interesting. I think it creates an interesting conundrum for these characters to deal with. Where, like, the higher it gets, the more dangerous it gets, but we can't just let it fall. Like,
and they can't blow it up because there are people on it. It's a totally different type of ticking time bomb from any other movie. I think that's also why even people who flat out hate this movie are like, no, that's cool, because that's something completely different from any other movie.
It was a little awkward when Superman flew in and just blew up the entire continent, killing everyone on board. I don't know how they worked out that crossover deal.
They found out that Joss Whedon, too, likes Axis.
Yeah. That's not what happened, in case you haven't seen the movie and they're listening to this for some reason. And there's a really quick throwaway thing of Vision getting Ultron off the internet. There was a fight. Also, One thing about the first Avengers that they do really well is that they do a really good job, like where like Captain America's kind of like giving commands to everyone, and we're kind of set up like what they're trying to accomplish with each successive thing. Like, oh, we got to stop them from doing this. Oh, let's try and close the portal by using the fucking Chrysler Building as an antenna. Oh, we got to shut the portal. Oh, there's a nuke coming. They do in this one. They do a little bit of that, but most of the time is spent just punching Ultron bots. And
yeah, the big thing for the finale is, one, it didn't need to be a quasi repeat of the first one, and then two, the multiple Ultron personalities in the drones needed to be established much better.
Yeah. One thing I think
they need to show that a lot more, because that's a creepy thing. Like, oh, I just killed you. Like, they show it with the one scene where Hawkeye kills one Ultron that's speaking, and then the next one pops up behind it.
Yeah,
like, that's cool, but it's like 5 seconds, and there needed to be way more of that.
Yeah,
needs to leave more of an impact.
One thing I think would have fixed it is if, like, Vision, after, like, blending with Ultron for a second, was, like, giving commands, telling everyone where the Ultron bots were. Being like, oh, hey, there's a bunch over here, and oh, hey, there's a bunch trying to flee to this location. And so, like Ultron, Vision should have been commanding this battle a little more.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Anyway, the battle happens. Quicksilver dies.
Wait. Okay, so the complete 360 around the Avengers in the church when Ultron's like, how could you possibly stop me? And then, together, and then they do that thing. Cool or not cool?
I don't care.
Okay. I tried.
They're evacuating everyone. Hawkeye goes to save this dumb kid. I don't know. I don't like that they killed Quicksilver, honestly.
Oh, okay. I do. I thought it was a very sad death scene.
I don't think there's any weight to it. I think it's just, oh, I guess they killed him. Whatever, they killed him. And it's just like, I liked him. He was of the new characters, he's the best set up in the movie. And then I realized that the only reason why he was the best set up was because he dies. And that was frustrating on rewatch. Because by like halfway through this movie, I'm like, oh, I want to see more Quicksilver. I don't want to see fucking Quicksilver in those X-Men movies. I didn't fucking like him. But I just, by the end of this movie, I'm like, I want to see more Quicksilver, and then he dies. And then Scarlet Witch is just like, oh, I'm sad. Yeah, then they stop Ultron.
Really quick on the Scarlet Witch Quicksilver stuff. Even though earlier you were saying you would like to see her on her own a little bit more, I like that they're not. They're together constantly throughout the whole movie. So when he does die, that left more of an impact on me, because like, oh yeah, he's dead.
I didn't feel it.
Okay.
They needed more. I'm not saying needing more scenes like just her alone, but there could have been a couple more scenes of just them together.
Mm-hmm.
I could have used that, but there aren't. Like, I don't feel sad for her when Quicksilver dies. I'm more just like, oh, this is another plot. It feels like just another plot point. Like, it doesn't feel anything more than just, okay, this is what happened. I'm not invested in it.
Mm.
So.
No, I wish you could have gotten more invested in this movie as a whole too.
Yeah, I do too. I want to love this movie, but I don't. I watch it and it's a passable movie, but that's not saying a ton. There's a lot.
Well, good thing we're talking about the end of the movie, because now we get to talk about the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, which feels like it's out of a better fucking movie.
I think you mean the best Marvel movie, but anyways,
it's not. Don't
stroke.
Even fucking go there, because it's not even close to like half the Marvel movies.
We're gonna fight.
It's fucking isn't.
Okay,
you know it deep down in your heart, you fucking coward.
Never. I will die on this hill.
I hope you do.
Do you want to talk about this, or should I just take it?
Yeah, the scene with Vision and Ultron's really good. Part of what makes it really good is that it feels like a movie moment, and it somehow Joss Whedon got away with saying all of humanity is doomed in a big budget blockbuster movie. It's a nice scene. And also, Ultron looks like creepy Ultron again. And doesn't look like stupid Ultron, which he has for most of the movie.
A little touch that I appreciated on the rewatches is that Ultron's brought down to his lowest form again. Like, just like he started in the movie, just a tattered old machine after, like, positing all this, like, that he was better than everyone along the way. So I really like that. And I think without that scene, the movie doesn't work as nicely for me, because that's where another one where the characters just get to sit back and talk about, like, all the shit that just happened. And also Vision is great, and Paul Bettany's a national treasure. Or I guess international treasure, because he's British.
You know what I could have used in that scene, though? I could have used one line of Vision being like, hey, let us help you, Ultron. Like, I'm not saying Ultron should have accepted. Like, Ultron should have said, like, fuck you and, like, attacked or something. But I could have used one line of Vision being like, hey, look, I don't want to kill you. Which he says earlier, which is nice. But I think Vision could have been like, hey, I'm here, I can help you. But they don't do anything with that. But whatever, the scene's fine. I like it a lot. Best scene in the movie, probably. And then the movie's over, and then we leave the theater.
Dun, 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 dun. Hey.
And then the worst post-credit sequence in all the Marvel movies.
Yeah, that I don't like that one at all. It's pointless. It's not fun. It's not anything. It's
not interesting.
Yeah. It's like, hey, remember Avengers 3 is happening with Thanos, and it's like, okay, you didn't need to set him up for 12 movies. He could have popped up in, like, a cameo he could have popped up in one fucking cameo down the line, but
I think they should have done a better job with these Infinity Stones.
Yeah, they should have.
I could understand, like, spacing those out over a couple movies.
You could an entire phase of movies. That's what I would have been interested in. An entire phase of movies would have been like sluttily devoted to those. Sluttily, what the fuck?
Yeah,
sorry, I've had a long week. You do, like, subplots with Thor and Guardians and Doctor Strange with those, and then they build up to Infinity War, and you're like, oh shit, they built up to Infinity Gauntlet secretly. That would have been cool.
I get that, like, that would have just been a little too repetitive at some point. Because, you know, we were dealing with, like, these very similar MacGuffins for a long time. So I get why they didn't do that, but, like, when you think about all the potential, like, 'cause there's a lot of interesting stories surrounding, like, the individual gems. I just think they could have done something a little interesting with it.
Yeah.
But whatever. Whatever, this whole movie.
It's so good.
It's not. I'm sorry. I want to like it. I really do. But I'm so bored watching it.
I've come to terms with nobody ever liking this movie as much as I do, and that's okay. Because I still like it as much as I do.
I will not watch it again until, like, someone I know asks to watch it with me, or, like, it's 10 years from now and I want to marathon all the movies.
Not even before Avengers 3 and 4?
I probably won't, honestly. Like, I haven't really felt... The only reason right now I've, like, watched a couple Marvel movies is not to, like, remind myself of anything, but just because I'm so hyped for Civil War that I just want to watch some Marvel stuff because I can't, like, contain my excitement. Yeah, that's all I really got. I'm not super passionate about... Because I don't hate it, but I don't like it very much.
All right. Is that your final thought on the movie then?
I guess.
Okay. I still rate it very high. I gave it an A when I first saw it. Sorry. Not sorry.
Yeah.
I'd still give it an A. I think it's a rich, textured, volatile sequel that just happens to play within the trappings of an MCU formula.
I think it's rich. I think it's rich like a cupcake with a lot of frosting on it. Then you eat it, you're like, oh god, that was like an entire meal. And then someone's like, you have to eat 7 more cupcakes. Or else I'm going to shoot your family.
Wow. That's heavy.
I don't
think it's that serious.
And you're going to feel heavy after eating those 7 cupcakes because it's too fucking rich.
Okay. Oh, all right. Well, then I always end these things with a series of rapid fire questions before we completely wrap. So I got a couple for you. Are you
Are
ready?
these going to be the same questions from our Lost episode?
No.
It wouldn't have mattered because I totally forgot what you asked.
Okay. Number one, is this the worst Marvel movie?
No.
Number two, what is the worst Marvel movie?
Thor: The Dark World.
I'm inclined to agree now, unfortunately.
It's like a filler episode of a TV show, except it's not a TV show. It's a $100 million action movie, part of a major franchise.
That's a good way of putting it. Also, they waste Malekith, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
Number three, Age of Ultron or Spider-Man 3? This is one I asked you previously.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man 3.
Okay. You want to go into detail why?
Well, Sam Raimi made Spider-Man 3, and there's a lot of interesting shit I'd like to watch in Spider-Man 3 again. I don't want to watch. There's nothing bringing me back to Age of Ultron that I couldn't find in like a YouTube clip.
Number four, would you watch the 3.5 hour cut of Age of Ultron?
I really don't know. I would only watch it to be like, well, let's see if it works this time. But I'm not. I'm more inclined to think that a lot of this is just misguided. There's a lot of this movie is just misguided. But maybe it would feel better if it was a 3 hour movie. I don't know.
And then final question, number five, what is the biggest problem with the MCU moving forward?
Everything. No. Just the fact that they're all very similar movies. They're all becoming very similar, and you got to start mixing them up. I don't know how. I really don't know. It's very difficult to figure out how to really mix things up without breaking the shared universe thing. Like that's honestly, it's a very complicated question, but they are getting into a rut of being very similar, and we'll see how that plays out over the next few films.
Yeah, because Phase 2, I mean, Phase 1 is a little rougher around the edges for individual movies, but at least all those movies are different. Phase 2 is where I think there are legitimately more great Marvel movies than Phase 1, but structurally they are very similar, and that's concerning, and they all end with a fight in the sky.
Yeah, I mean, other than Guardians, we didn't get anything really new in Phase 2. Like it was the three other movies were three other characters that we knew, and so it was just extensions of their storylines, and they all ended up having a very similar tone, except for Thor: The Dark World, which is entirely pointless.
It's an Alan Taylor movie. I mean, that's just...
Yeah, I don't know what that guy has done, but...
Terminator 5.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
But...
Okay, well, I'll let you go now. Matthew Guringo, where can the people find you?
Check me out at Guringo Fuck Yourself. It's on SoundCloud. It's a podcast where I react to the news. Each episode's only like 10 minutes, so it's good if you want to kill 10 minutes.
That is resounding enthusiasm. Can people find you anywhere else online?
I'm on Twitter at EmperorOTN.
What is that? What is the Emperor OTN?
Emperor of the North.
Oh my God! I can't believe I did.
Favorite movies ever.
I can't believe I never. Fucking shit.
I completely missed that. Fucking movie is so good. It ends with Lee Marvin and Ernest Borgnine fighting with an axe and a bit of wood on the back of a moving train. It's so fucking awesome.
And you can find me, of course, on the Waffle Press at audienceseverywhere.net. Twitter, Dega Waffles, and all those other places. And you'll probably find me fighting with Matt on Twitter about some bullshit. Like, up next, Alien 3, where I think the opening is amazing. And apparently Matt doesn't like it. So we'll talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a good one. More Marvel goodness coming at you probably the day after this goes up.
Instead
Bye.
of watching Age of Ultron, watch Emperor of the North starring Lee Marvin and Ernest Borgnine.
Bye.
That's the best you can do!
You gotta ask.